All right, guys. So again, my name's Allie. For those of you that are not in my section, this video we're going to go over manual muscle testing for the cervical spine. So again, that's the neck. I will go through the grades that are on your lab. So for flexion, it's grade 5, extension grade 3, side flexion or side bending is grade 3, and rotation is grade 4. So for our stabilizing and resisting hands, stabilizing, we're going to place right on the front of the chest for cervical flexion. It's our dog Lily. Cervical flexion, so my stabilizing hand is going to go right on the front of his chest, just on his sternum, just below his collarbones. And then my resisting hand is going to go just on his forehead. Some people like to put the resisting hand on the chin, but it's actually better to do on the forehead because you don't want that jaw opening. So grade 5, as we know, is maximal resistance through the full range of motion. So I'm going to have him bring his chin to his chest, just like that. And then I'm going to have him hold it there and perform the break test. So hold it like that. And I'm going to try to move him, and I'm going to have him hold that for 5 seconds. Then, of course, we have extension. So I'm going to have him turn around. So I don't want him extending his whole back. So I'm going to put my stabilizing hand right on the back, on his upper back, just to remind him that I don't want him hyperextending his whole back. So stabilizing hand on the upper back, resisting hand just on the back of the head. And then this one we were doing grade 3. So when we do grade 3, as we know, it is the ability to go through the full range of motion without any resistance. So I can still put my stabilizing hand on again to remind him to keep his back straight instead of doing the hyperextension. But I'm just going to have him bring his head back so he's looking up at the ceiling. Go ahead. And that is grade 3. If I was doing grade 4 and grade 5, again, I would put my resistance hand just on the back of his head. Then we have side flexion. Okay, so I'm going to have him turn around again. So for side flexion, I'm going to be testing bilaterally with this. So when we're doing side flexion, if you guys remember from the goniometry video, you're having ear to shoulder, right? So my stabilizing hand is going to go on the same shoulder that I'm having him bring his head towards. And then I'm going to put my hand just above his ear for resistance. Okay, so if I was doing grade 4 and grade 5, this would be my hand placement. But since we're just doing grade 3 as part of this lab, we're going to remove that resistance hand and have him just bring his ear to his shoulder. And I'm putting my stabilizing hand on his shoulder to remind him not to lift up his shoulder to his ear. He's just moving his neck. Okay, go ahead. So that is grade 3. He's able to move through the full range of motion without any resistance, except for gravity, of course. So then again, we would test that bilaterally. So stabilizing the other shoulder and have him bring his head to that shoulder. And if I was resisting, I would put my hand on that just above his ear. And then lastly, we have rotation. So rotation, you typically want to be standing in front of the patient, but for the purposes, so that way you guys can actually see, I will not do that.
Well, I can move sideways.
So, no, because then I won't be able to see stuff, but thank you. So for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to be stabilizing, again, that same shoulder, but this time I want my hand to be more on the front, because if I turn my head towards you guys, notice how my shoulder just came forward. I want to prevent that from happening. So putting my hand on top and in front of that shoulder to prevent him from doing that. And then my resisting hand is going to go right on the side of his face. Don't poke him in the eye, just be careful of that. So then I'm going to have him turn his face towards me. Okay, and then I'm doing minimal resistance right now, so that is a grade 4. All right, so that's it for manual muscle testing. See you guys in the next video.